Delaware is clearly different than most places in the country. First of all, we know each other. A good example is you had, 5 chiefs of staff and a former governor up there, and we all know each other, and we're friends. We relate to each other, and that's the way it is. I mean, that can overcome whether you're a Republican or Democrat or you're liberal or conservative or whatever it may be. Often people have moved to Delaware in recent years, some other places, who are much more just driven by the ideology of their beliefs, as opposed to the so-called Delaware Way, where we sit down and work things out together. I think the Delaware Way is frankly the way to go. I think it's why Delaware has been successful. And I would hope that those who've come from afar will learn from that and realize that perhaps by working together, when you're a small state, you can get more done.
If you look at Delaware history, I think it's really been defined in the modern era by Pete DuPont forward. You've had a philosophy of fiscal responsibility, of social moderation, and being able to work through problems, the Delaware Way, that people would come together and resolve it. And I feel that, doing that, governors have always been focused on jobs and the economy, education, the environment. Those are sort of the perennial issues. And I think that one administration passes to the next and allows that administration to be successful.
There were the elements of the Delaware Way, although they weren't articulated before the DuPont administration. I told the story from the stage today about the veto of the budget bill in 1978, a very divisive act, and one that taught us the importance of reaching across the aisle and making certain that everyone who was of good conscience and willing to do what was best for Delaware became involved in the decision-making process and got credit for their involvement.
When you're involved in the process in this state, you realize that you're going to have legislators, for example, in both parties. Sometimes, not right now, you have elected officials of both parties. There are many more Democrats now. And the bottom line is, if you're going to get things done, you need to work together also.
And much like the administrations that followed, we also involved members of the opposite party. We invited them to press conferences when they were key participants and key players in a given decision or act. So while the Delaware Way was out there, I don't ever recall reading about it, and I think we sort of coalesced it.
We are a small state. If we're going to compete for jobs and compete in education in a variety of ways with the bigger states, we've got to be able to stay together and to work together. So that's been at the heart of a lot of what's happened in Delaware under Republican and Democratic governors, and I think it's been a good success story.